it's in Big Ten, which kind of gets us into this games this weekend. Best game on the schedule, possibly, I guess, when I'm looking at the board.
Michigan State, Indiana, clearly.
Yeah. Actually, Purdue, Northwestern. That in my brain, I immediately go, oh, no. But it's honestly the best football game probably this weekend, matchup-wise.
And Virginia Tech, Florida.
Or Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a weird one. All right, let's just get into the games there. We can start with that line. That line, I don't know what's going on there.
What is happening?
Vegas knows
What
something.
do you do here?
Vegas knows something, and I don't love the idea of going against them because who puts Virginia Tech after the Liberty loss and a defense that all season long doesn't look like they could stop a nosebleed as the favorite against number 9 Miami? I know Miami struggled offensively and defensively at times, but like, how is this a thing?
Well, it might be a thing.
I understand. I was hearing that 80% of the money is on this, on
Miami,
and the line hasn't moved.
Yeah.
Well, it might be
scary.
another thing with Michigan State and Indiana, where these two teams on paper are very evenly matched.
Yeah, but it's like Virginia Tech offensively is good, but their defense is
horse.
Bad.
Yeah.
I use this analogy on the pick too. They look like a toddler who just got a hold of their dad's whiskey cup, and it ain't going to be pretty. Like, that's how bad that defense is. They're stumbling through games. Like, just the defense alone, they let up 300 or 460 yards a game. That's astounding to me. 31 points, and that's the thing. Like, I think this is not on my card, but I think I have to pick
Virginia Tech.
No.
Virginia Tech. You have to.
I know I have to because
Vegas tells you have to.
I know, but brain, like, I'm just looking at it, I'm just like, their defense is so bad. I can't justify it in my brain.
Nate, this is like looking at a bear trap and thinking, that's really not a bear trap. I'll stick my foot in it.
No, that's like looking at a bear trap, say, I can stick my foot in and pull it out really quickly.
Yeah. Or like the trap with all the brush sit on top of it, and you're like, this will support my weight.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Nate is gonna save that call for Saturday.
Yeah, a couple cold ones at noon, and just fire off that tweet. I just want to go to bed. Instead of going to bed
to see the gif of the bear falling into the bear trap.
All in the name of content. My pain is all in the name of content. Yeah, I hate that line. I don't like this game. It stinks. I'm gonna watch it, but I'm gonna stay away from it. Indiana, Michigan State. We sort of already touched on this, but explain to me why I should have any faith in Michigan State not turning over the ball a minimum of 3 times here.
Oh, that probably will happen.
I got no reason.
Yeah,
and if they do that, I don't know how they stay within a touchdown. I don't know.
I'm telling you, you have to look at this from the other side. Indiana does not play defense.
It's another bear trap.
I get that, but if you're turning over, the turnover differential is hard for me to sit here and go, you know what game I wanna.
It's a bounce back game.
Every other game, Nate. They didn't turn the ball over in the Michigan game.
Yeah, I know.
You know what? You're gonna be heartbroken, Nate, if Michigan State wins by like 3 touchdowns or something.
I'll be so annoyed. At that, it won't. That small TV might go through a window.
We'll text you like, Nate, Indiana hasn't scored.
I mean, I told you.
Right.
I don't like how
this is one that I like us.
Yeah, I don't know anything about betting, but it's only +7, and
There's no reason it should be +7.
I mean, outside the fact that Michigan State eats a bowl of popcorn before every game and can't hold on to the football, like the turnover, you had 7 turnovers in the Rutgers game, you had 3 in the Iowa game, 3 picks by Lombardi. I don't know if he had a fumble or not.
3 bad picks.
Like they weren't even like.
I mean,
he just threw them to the other team.
Yeah, he threw them directly to the other team.
He's thrown 6 touchdowns and 5 interceptions on the year. And you're telling me I gotta
sounds about like Rocky. Sounds like the Rocky I know.
Those are Kirk Cousins numbers right there. Okay.
Nah, I'm
it's
going
just like all great Michigan State quarterbacks.
Yep. Or Peyton Manning his first year in the league.
I'm going Indiana.
Don't compare him to Peyton Manning. Those two, Rocky Lombardi and Peyton
Manning, hear that
should never be in the same sentence ever.
I'm just saying, Peyton Manning threw a lot of interceptions his rookie year.
He also didn't look like Rocky Lombardi.
He did not.
Notre Dame BC line's at 13.5. Over under is at 50. We think in Notre Dame,
Boston College is better than I think that they're giving the line.
I agree.
This is going to be a close one. This is going to be a scary game. Notre Dame's buttholes are going to be puckered up this entire game, I think.
I sort of agree. Like, I put this on my degenerate report pick. I'm sort of regretting it. I wish I had taken the first half number, which is at 7 BC first half. I've got BC here because it's the red bandana game for one.
Oh, it's the red bandana game too?
It is the red bandana game.
Oh boy.
And they've got special jerseys this year for it. Like different than the ones they've done in past. So they have that. Now there is no home field advantage, but like they'll get up for that a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
Notre Dame knows they have UNC, I think, next week, so there's a little bit of a look ahead. They just played a physical game against Clemson. Like, even though, like, defensively you go, well, there was a ton of points, like, that was a really physical game at the point of contact. So you're probably a little beat up there, mentally exhausted. They're starting to probably have COVID from that field rushing. Like, Notre Dame season's about to just get canceled here any week now. Give it a week, it's probably gone. And you got BC, they got a lot on the line. They play tough. You got Phil, the quarterback, was a Notre Dame guy. There's a little bit of a revenge factor there. Just the closer we get to the game, the more I keep talking myself out of Boston College. I like the first half number a lot better than I like the full game now. But I'm sticking with BC here because they're a good football. They're a good football team. I'm just a little nervous that Notre Dame might just say screw it and have no letdown spot because they're that good of a team maybe this year. But I don't know. They also dropped a goose egg against Louisville.
Yeah, so, you got to make sure that if you're Brian Kelly that your players don't overlook Boston College.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think it's a tough game. I do think the physical toll of the Clemson game mixed with BC it's going to be a little tough, and it's the red bandana game. So I've got BC there. Northwestern Purdue. I'm not going to lie. I have not watched a single second of either one of these football teams, but I feel like just knowing these programs, I can already tell exactly what these are. Northwestern is like a put you to sleep, watch the grass grow team, but they perform like clockwork. Purdue is not very good and relies on bang, bang plays and quick flashes in the pan, and that makes them dangerous for this game. But the line's at 2.5. Northwestern's favorite. Over-unders at 51. Tell me I'm wrong in any part of that or what this is, because I haven't watched a single.
Northwestern is just gonna try to run this game into the ground.
watch the grass grow, and they have. Oh, it isn't in Northwestern. I was gonna say they do have the taller grass, but it's in Purdue.
It's in Purdue, yeah. I don't like 2 seems like I think this game is gonna be close.
Yeah. I feel like it should for these two teams, but I know nothing. In college, is just the cultures. You change the faces, the cultures stay the same. I mean, look at Georgia. They flip from Mark Rich and they go to Kirby Smart. The exact same
exact
person. Yeah, and like you said, Purdue.
This is how all programs work for the most part.
Purdue is all about how many explosive plays can I get off in one game, and that might not be great against a Northwestern team that just isn't going to change its scheme all game.
It's just consistently decent. That's all they do. Just fundamentally decent football, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
And
this line flipped from Purdue when it first opened.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yes.
That's all I really have to say about that. I can't digest
call
that.
These 2 games. We gotta ban these.
I guess the game of the week. This line feels weird to me. Wisconsin at Michigan. The line's at 4. Wisconsin's favored 4.5. Over-unders at 54. Mertz is supposed to play, from what I've heard. Wisconsin, I don't understand this line because for me, I guess the reason it's so low is the fact that Wisconsin, this is their first full week of practice, and I guess you think maybe they'll be sluggish from 15 players having COVID and being off so long. But like, in what world do we think Michigan stays within 4?
The same world that Iowa doesn't lose 3 games. I mean, Michigan can't lose 3 straight. It's not like the NFL where you take a year off and tear it all down and rebuild. Like, these are your players.
It's a must-win game for Michigan.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because it's also college football where they haven't really practiced, but they're also kids, so it's not like they're going to be losing their wind as much or anything like that. I don't know what to do with this game, Nate.
Here's one where I think that Michigan is actually going to benefit from fans not being in the stand, because if fans were in the stand and Wisconsin was able to go there and steal a win and make them lose 3 games in a row, I think Wisconsin would take that opportunity.
I think if fans were in the stands this year, Jim Harbaugh would actually be fired because you'd actually see a lot less people there.
Very good. Jim Harbaugh would already be out there. Yeah. Good point. I don't know. Like, part of me is just thinking, like, I think I'm probably going to stay away from it. It's at 7:30, so who knows? My mind could probably change game day. It's not on my card. But to me, like, the only reason I wouldn't take Wisconsin is if I'm betting on the fact that this is the first week they've had full practice in 21 days, or 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks, and they had 15 players that had it. The quarterback had it, but I didn't see anything like with Trevor Lawrence where he was having a ton of bad symptoms. And maybe you think they're going to be sluggish or like not very good, but I mean they looked really good in their first game. In Michigan, I get there's that factor of like we got to play for Jim Harbaugh if that's even a thing, but really we just got to play not to be a super embarrassed on the national stage because it's only a real like big game. I just don't. I don't know. Like I don't see it like if Wisconsin hadn't had COVID, you think they're going to be a 4-point dog or a 4-point favorite?
No, I think if Wisconsin played, this would be like a 14-point, 13-point. Yeah.
Yes. And I just talked myself into it. Wisconsin, I think, is going to blow Michigan out
because
their quarterbacks are so bad. They leave them on an island every time. They're not like terrible, but they're left out on an island for no reason. And Graham Mertz is just going to pick these boys apart.
Yeah, those handsy corners. I don't know if they're going to be able to handle Wisconsin's wideouts.
No, and the only thing I keep thinking in my head that's holding me back is like, one, either the first week had to be a complete fluke, and 2, COVID had a real physical impact and mental impact to where they're just not like they weren't doing film study on their own and things like that, and they're just going to be very sluggish. But that doesn't feel like Wisconsin. Like Wisconsin doesn't feel like a team that's going to come out and make a bunch of mental lapses and be sluggish. I mean, maybe they are, but I can't see it.
Even if they do, they'll just go to the run. They'll just go to the ground. Yeah.
They're much more physical at the point of contact. Yeah. Much more physical.
So,
yep. So they don't really have the typical Wisconsin running back though.
But they still got the typical Wisconsin O-line.
They sure do. Sure do.
It's that very typical Michigan defensive line. So
also true.
I like my odds there. All right. Let's go through our cards, see if we pick up any other games here. I can go.
Wait,
first.
Are Michigan State and Illinois the only teams in the Big Ten with a 7? Everyone else is a 2 or 3 for the lines.
I believe
Minnesota,
so.
Iowa's 3. It's moved to 3.5. It was at 2.5.
It was at 2.5. Those are just weird lines all across.
Penn State, Nebraska's at 3. Which that game, I mean,
that is dumpster
fire. I
can't
imagine Nebraska or Penn State's going to keep sliding, but at the same point, I have no reason that they have a backstop.
So the only reason I'm going to say that Penn State will probably continue to slide is because I witnessed the 3-9 season where we showed up every Saturday and kept saying there's no way Michigan State could get worse, and they got
and
worse.
They did.
So
I think I'm nervous about with Penn State because there's nothing that's made me feel good about that team.
No,
nothing. I felt good about them early in the season, like right before Ohio State. I went in there going, all right, maybe the first week was just a fluke. You know, they got spooked a little.
Yeah, look at LSU.
But
in a similar position, except Penn State didn't win a national championship.
very true. And have the type of recruiting classes that LSU has had. All right. I'll start with my card. I got Arkansas plus 17.5 against Florida. Florida, Dan Mullins. Hey, I didn't think he had the stones to win a big game. He won a big game against Georgia, but Georgia has no offense. That defense, I'm not putting a whole lot of stock in it. That was a huge emotional swing for them. Arkansas, they are about that fight. They are ready to brawl. They are a scrappy, feisty team. Like I said last week, they are the definition of it's not how big not the size of the dog, but the size of the fight in the dog. I like them. They're a covering machine too. They're 10-0 against the spread, I think, in their last 10 games.
Holy cow.
Plus 17.
Sam Pittman is out for that game, Nate.
Is he?
Yes. Sam Pittman has COVID. Their head coach.
Dante's peacing out, but we will see you next week, sir. Just giving our viewers a little why you won't be heard for the little bit at the end.
Yeah.
I did not know that, but I'm still going to take them.
I don't know that changes much because their offensive and defensive coordinator are kind of the guys that feel to me like they're really running that, and Sam Pittman is kind of the motivator there.
Hell, it might even motivate the players to go win one for the Gipper type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to win the game. I think Florida is so good offensively, but 17.5, I like that. BC plus 13.5, I like. I think I'm also probably going to take the over. I'm not sold yet on that. That might be a game time decision. You'll have to see what I tweet out for my final card. IU, Indiana, I got -7. Oregon, 10.5. I think I rewatched that Oregon game. I'm not saying it was flawless. They're playing Washington State. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about Oregon is that they don't play defense. That defense is good. Like, it was the first game. I think they're going to settle in a little bit better this week. But the corners, I thought, had really good position on wide receiver most of the time. The defensive line looked like it was starting to get going. Like, I like Oregon. I think they're going to be good. Army +4 against Tulane. They're coming back. That run offense is just a nightmare to deal with. And then I've got West Virginia -3. They're just the superior team this week. TCU is a disaster. An absolute disaster. Like I've watched 2 TCU games and I've turned them off halfway through because of how bad they are. Like I just think of that Texas game. And like I'm not saying West Virginia is super good, but they're just the better team this week. I've watched them both play and I don't think it's really that close. I don't think 3 is that close. If it was maybe at a touchdown, I'd maybe be reconsidering it, but at 3, they're better than TCU by a field goal. Yeah, 100%.
Fair enough. Yeah, you've talked me into watching that Oregon game. I really need to watch Oregon this week because last year even they weren't they weren't the same Oregon team that you remember, like the same Oregon team that's flashy and able to run all the way around you, and that they just get out muscled once they play against Stanford. They're the opposite now. They're the ones that are doing the out muscling.
Yeah, like 100%. And the thing with Oregon, I was surprised. Like, and I think I might have just given the opinion that they played bad against Stanford. They didn't play bad. I mean, they only let up 14 points. But you did see them take a little bit to really get into it. But they are a much more physical team than what you're used to in Oregon. They still have the flashiness, but they are much more physical on defense, much more physical on the offensive line. Like it's a little bit of a different team, which is very impressive to watch. But yeah, the defense is good. Like it's good. I think it's gonna be very good this year. I was very impressed with the secondary and the defensive line.
Fair enough. I think for my first pick for this week is another game that I turn off all the time. It seems like it's UC. They just blow teams out and they get boring. And so to me, it doesn't really matter what the spread is. It's 27.5, but they've been playing so well this year that it doesn't really matter what the spread is to me. Whatever it is, I'm going to take it.
I bet
so I'm taking UC minus 27.5 right there. The other game that I just started debating in my head because I was like, oh, Minnesota, they blew up. They beat up pretty good on Illinois last week. But so did Iowa. I wasn't sure if Minnesota's back or not, like actually kicking things back into the gear. So I might actually stay away from that game. I was I kind of like Minnesota, but I don't really love Minnesota, and I don't think Iowa's as good as they show against Michigan State last week. This week, I actually will bet on my Spartans, just because.
Going head here. We're going head to head.
Yep, we're doing a
like
big
it.
old reputation game. My reputation's on the line here because this line smells. No other reason than this line smells. Am I going to take Michigan State here? The other one, definitely Wisconsin. Definitely taking laying the 4.5 with Wisconsin against Michigan. I don't think Michigan's any good. I do think Wisconsin is pissed off too that they haven't been able to play the last 2 weeks, and so they're going to come out and Graham Mertz is just going to be given the green light, and they are just going to turn this one into a track meet real quick. I said it earlier, Virginia Tech. I have to take that one. It's a bear trap game. There's no rhyme or reason to this line, so I have to take Virginia Tech in this one. Let's see, what else do I got here? What else do I got? Anything. I like the BC game with you, Nate. I'm on BC. I was going to say under 49.5 points is kind of where I see the game going. I wanted to say an under just because I feel like Notre Dame's not going to put up very many points after they had that huge game against Clemson. And their offense seems to kind of go in spurts this year, but 49.5 kind of seems right around the line that I don't like taking an under on.
Yeah. It feels very well spotted. I'll say that. Like
yes.
I could easily make the case for either one of the two over under. I think I lean more over because I hate taking an under and being wrong, but I'm with you. It's that smells. It seems like Vegas computers teed that up almost perfectly.
I guess they kind of did and they kind of didn't, because I see that game being like a 7-13 game or a 60-point game.
True.
So
That's a good,
I don't really know. It's either definitely going to hit the under or definitely going to hit the over.
Well, I think it'll either be really close. See, my argument would be it's either going to be really close, which gets you to that over under at 49, or one team's just going to blow, like Notre Dame's just going to blow the water out of. I didn't have a good phrase there. That's a terrible phrase, but just absolutely destroy them. Just blow the water right out of them. They're going to be super dehydrated come the end of that game, guys. Like, what was that? Just blow the water right out of them. Holy smoke. Yeah, either I think it's going to be really close and sort of low scoring that gets you right by that, or Notre Dame's just going to absolutely smoke them here. One of the two. But if they absolutely smoke them, then that over-under is like going to be really close, I think.
Right, yeah. If they absolutely smoke them, I mean, that over's in play just by Notre Dame alone. Yeah. The other game I do kind of like, I've grown to like Ole Miss. I think they're going to put up some points still in this South Carolina game. I forgot about that. I think I'm taking Ole Miss -11, even though they're 2-4, which their record surprised me because they must just cover and put up a ton of points in every game they played, and I'm just misremembering some of the games. But well, yeah. So they lost to Auburn, who's not good, but Arkansas, who is good, and then they put up a fight against Bama and they beat Kentucky. And they dropped 35 points on Florida. So they can put up points. They just can't stop anybody, which we already knew that. That's Lane Kiffin. So I do like this game. I do like Ole Miss in this game just because of that, because I don't have faith in South Carolina to put up any points. So I don't like the over of 70.5 here.
That's going to be, I agree. It was on my radar. I kind of forgot about it. That is going to be a watch it game because, like, Will Muschamp might be out if he loses here because this team is dying quick. I think he's already probably out, but I think he's definitely out if he loses to Ole Miss here. And Lane Kiffin, I mean, he's got them going. I'm going to be super interested to see what he does down at Ole Miss with some resources because he'll have a couple bagmen around.
Oh, he has some resources.
But yeah, I mean the offense is they're put up points. Be nice to see if you can get a defense, but they're putting up points.
The bags only got dropped on offense this last year, Nate. They haven't got around to defense. They need to drum up a few more boosters.
Fair enough. I think that's all for my card. I don't know if you have anything else, but I think I'm adding Wisconsin. I'll probably add a little on Saturday, so watch out for the card to be tweeted out at TriviaKidsPod on Instagram and Twitter. Let's wrap it up with our top 10s because